you feel about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan coming to Columbus, Georgia?
I feel that it's a positive thing that's going on in Columbus. I feel that the black unity needs to be upheld, and I feel that he is here to do that for Columbus, Georgia. Even though many people have negative things to say about him and negative things to say about black people, I think that they need to come here and listen to what he has to say, because I think he will bring a positive message for us all.
The community, the black community, right now needs a black leader to guide them in the right direction.
It's an honor to have him here in our city, and it's a pleasure to have this opportunity to come out and see him. And I feel that Minister Farrakhan wants the blacks to respect ourselves and to love ourselves. That way other people will feel the same way about us.
It's going to cause them to wake up and realize, you know, that they can't live for the people that own this town, and they stop doing what everybody say and think for themselves and get up and do what they feel that they want to do.
What do you feel about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan coming to Columbus, Georgia?
I'm just excited. I've never heard him speak in person, you know, and I'm surprised that he's coming this far south, so I think it's very positive. I'm just glad to be here.
I'm really glad that he came. I think this is the place and the time to come. For me, this would mean a lot to me, a family reunion for one. The first time I saw Farrakhan was in Tuskegee, at Tuskegee University, and this is my second time, and the second time my family will be reunited.
Mainly, the main thing is that a lot of people think he talks about hate, but they need to come down there to get the full understanding of what Minister Farrakhan is all about.
He came to Columbus too, and I'm originally from Dublin, Georgia, and I came up here to hear him speak because I think he speaks a good message.
I've been waiting for it for a long time. I've seen him up in Cleveland before. It was excellent. Can't wait. I'm glad he's down here now.
I feel it's history to me. I want to see him in person, and I finally got my chance to see him before time's up, and I want to see him.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and I feel good about him being here because I think he has a good effect on all black people, African Americans.
I feel as though it's an honor to have the Minister Louis Farrakhan in Columbus, Georgia, because he has a solution. Everybody knows the problem, but very few people are dealing with the solution. And the Minister Louis Farrakhan is bringing us solution. One of the main solution that he's given is do for self. And do for self for the black at this day and time is what we need. Do for self program. Stop depending on others to do something that we can do for ourselves.
And anyone that can bring my black brothers up, I'm all for it.
I feel that it's something good and positive for the black community so that we can all get together. Columbus is a fairly small city, and it will help and unify the community and help bring our black people closer together and let them understand what's really going on in the world today.
I feel it's pretty positive. I'm glad that a person of his stature is coming to Columbus. I think anyone taking part in that kind of debate is good, whatever your personal viewpoint is.
And do you feel as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has a message for not only the blacks, but for overall the people in America?
I think he should be listened to, definitely, by anyone, no matter what their race or creed, personally. Even if you don't follow his particular teachings, I think he should definitely be listened to.
Well, I think that one of the things, I do realize that there are a lot of brothers who are not in jail, who are not on drugs. And for those brothers to come together in strength is really important, because there are so many out there who are giving up, and especially the women. We're kind of down on our brothers right now. But there need to be a strength of force to show that there are a lot of black men who are very positive, aggressive in their thoughts, and uplifting each other. And once we see that, I think that some of these things that we see that are plaguing our community, homelessness, crime, black on black, drugs, you name it, those things can be alleviated very quickly if we show strength.
Okay, thank you, sister. And do you think that we will be able to call a million men to march on Washington?
Oh, most definitely. I think that if people can get together for some of these other trivial things, like these concerts that people go to and stand in lines for hours and basketball games, I know there's enough of us out there who are concerned about the state of black America that would definitely come together, march on Washington, and let us show that we are forced to be reckoned with.
Yes, and would you be one of the sisters that would come and support us and also call other sisters to come support us?
I wouldn't have a problem doing that whatsoever.
They often ask us in our private Meaning, why do you want this man to come? I say, is it any other man that should come? Because it's not another man alive doing what he's doing for black people, not only in America, but all over the world. Why this man? Because God has put his hand on this man for a special people, for a divine people, for a chosen people. We are not just black people that can be pushed down forever. God let us be down for just a minute to test you at your rule. But guess what? It is in the 7th day. Here he is, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Give it to him. Minister Farrakhan! Go ahead, Brother Minister.
Thank you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one God, to whom all praise is due, the Lord of the worlds, Allah, the creator of all things, Allah, the revealer of all truth, Allah, the sender of all prophets. To him alone do I submit and seek refuge. We thank him for Moses and the Torah. We thank him for Jesus and the gospel. We thank him for Muhammad and the Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants of God. I am eternally grateful to him for his intervention in our affairs, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who was predicted to come and indeed has come. But he didn't come in the east as it was thought. He came to the west, to a people robbed and spoiled. And he searched among us until he found one worthy to carry a weighty message of deliverance to our people. And he found from Sandersville, Georgia, a man who history will say is one of the greatest men who ever walked among us. And that man is our teacher, leader, and guide, Allah's messenger to us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet all of you, my dear and wonderful brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. To our Christian brothers and sisters, this means peace be unto you. I am so very happy and thankful to be in Columbus, Georgia. I want to thank Minister Michael and Brother, is it Lavelle? Lavelle of the NAACP. I want to thank the Muslims and the Christians who work together to make this beautiful evening possible. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. To many, it's strange to see Muslims and Christians, or the NAACP and the Nation of Islam, working together to produce good. Yes. But why should this be strange?
Go ahead, Minister. Come on.
If the founders of the NAACP had in their hearts and minds the advancement of people of color in all fields of human endeavor, and I have no reason to believe that they didn't have this in their hearts and minds. And certainly Master Farad Muhammad's coming and raising the Honorable Elijah Muhammad among us was for that same purpose, to advance the black man and woman of America.
That's right.
Beyond even our wildest imagination. So if advancement is what we want, and to advance means to move toward a goal or objective that is beyond you at the moment that you are trying to advance. Well, what is the goal of the NAACP, and what is the goal of the Nation of Islam? The goal is freedom.
Yes, sir.
The goal is justice.
Yes.
The goal is equality. The goal is mutual respect and recognition of us as a people equal to the best in civilized society. We want to advance. We want to advance our knowledge. We want to advance in moral strength. We want to advance in spiritual understanding. We want to advance economically. We want to advance educationally, and we certainly want to advance politically. So if advancement is what we want, can't we advance better in unity than we can divided? As a Muslim, I am a lifetime member of the NAACP. I have contributed thousands of dollars to the NAACP. What, Farrakhan? Sure. Sure. Because when the NAACP is successful, we are successful. When the Nation of Islam is successful, they're successful. Because our success is the advancement not of a few, but we want to advance the whole people, and we can do it better united. We can do it better working together for that common goal of advancement. So I am really happy to be in Columbus. I'm happy to be in Georgia, but especially in Columbus, Georgia. Well, why are you happy to be in Columbus, Georgia, Farrakhan? Well, Columbus is not Atlanta. Atlanta is a great world-class city. Columbus is the second largest city, I believe, in the state of Georgia, with all of the problems of the biggest cities. Yes. And so, Columbus and Georgia has been a state that terrifies black people. When you mention Georgia, black folk across the country start shaking. Say, you going to Georgia? Because they know, brother, that our people have suffered in this state. Not to think of next door in Alabama. And certainly not to think of next door to Alabama, Mississippi. Black folk have suffered all over America, but in particular, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. So it is only logical that where there is the greater oppression, the greater the leadership will come out from under such oppression. Less oppression, less caliber in the leadership. So the greatest leadership for America and the world, you should expect it out of Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. Well, Farrakhan, where are you from? I'm from Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. No, I was born in New York City. But I'm here in Georgia because there's a scripture that says there's a lion asleep in Judah who will waken. You are a great lion, somewhat asleep, and I just came to wake you up. So those of you who are coming to hear somebody teach hate, oh, you came to the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. I wouldn't waste my time or your time trying to get you to hate somebody. You know, if 400 years of evil mistreatment has not taught you to hate, then it's impossible for anybody to get you to hate. If you came to hear me preach an anti-Semitic subject, oh, you're in the wrong place. I just wouldn't waste my time or yours with that. I want you to get to know me better, but I don't have time to talk about myself. You will get to know me as we delineate the truths that Jesus said would make us free. And that's not only freeing black people, but white folk need to be freed from the chains that keep them shackled to the myth of white supremacy. Naturally, if I came to wake the brothers and sisters up, then naturally you can be superior to somebody who is asleep. That's no big feat. That's no demonstration of superior intelligence to wait until somebody sleeps to demonstrate how smart you are. Every one of you that is a mother and get tired sometimes and fall asleep and your children are awake while you're asleep, well, if you're asleep, they're running the house. But let them try it when you wake up. See, it's an altogether different time. When mama wakes up, she has to put the house back in order. And so it is with black people. The things that used to be done yesterday with impunity when we were asleep, you just can't do that anymore. We're awake now. And now that we have awakened, we see the house is in a mess. Say, look what a mess our children has made of the house. So we got to quickly get in the bathroom and wash up. We can't take too much time in the bathroom. But you must go to the toilet and clean up first. Then come out and look at the mess that the children have made. And then decide what we're going to do to put it in order. And of course you have to call the children into question. And then you have to spank those that need it. But this would never have happened if you had just stayed awake. So the person you need to blame is not the children who ran amok and messed up the house. Blame yourself for falling asleep while your children should have been asleep with you. Well, let's get busy. As we speak, America, it appears, is clearly suffering. And from my vantage point, America lies on her deathbed in dire need of guidance and a new direction. If we examine America's vital signs, we will have to agree that they show that America is not on the ascendancy, but America is in a state of decline. The root of America's suffering is a basic immorality and vanity where greed, lust, and an inordinate self-interest has become the way of life.
That's right. Yes, sir. That's right.
Greed drives people to think more of profit than they do of principle. Greed drives the media. Greed drives the politicians. Greed drives the preachers. Greed, self-interest. We don't care what happens to the nation. It's my corporation. We must make a profit even if America suffers a loss. So this inordinate self-interest has become the way of life. I'm a Christian, but I want my denomination to be successful over yours, though we both claim Christ. I am a Muslim, but I want my sect or my party to become predominant over yours, because greed and vanity and inordinate self-interest driving us. We can't look to see what is good for the whole because we don't care about the whole. If my family is doing well, I don't care if your family is suffering. This is the condition of America. America is supposed to be a melting pot of many nations, many races, many cultures, many religions. But if I'm Irish, I'll look out for the Irish. But the Irish are not the only ones who make up America. If I'm a Jew, I will look out for Jews. If I'm an Italian, I will look out for Italians. Or if I'm black, I will look out for black. If I'm rich, I will look out for my class. If I'm poor, I'm just looking out for an opportunity.
That's right, Brother Minister.
But if the Irish prosper to the detriment of the Italians, or the Italians prosper to the detriment of the Jews, or the Koreans prosper to the detriment of the Japanese, and if all prosper to the detriment of the blacks, then we are weakening self. If we say self is all of us inclusive as Americans, if that's what we say, if we really mean what we say, then who will speak for the whole? Who will lead for the whole? Who will see the need of the most disadvantaged and lift them up to the equal position of the most advantaged? Who will do that? Will the Democratic Party do that? I don't think so. How do you know, Farrakhan? Because you've had the opportunity to do so, and you have not done so. The poor are still poor and getting poorer every day. And the rich are still rich and getting richer every day at the expense of the poor. There's only a few in America who control the wealth of the many. Just a few families in America. Just a few families in America.
You know you're right.
Greed. Greed. Vanity. An inordinate self-interest, which is a basic immorality, is driving America to ruin. When the desire for self-interest and its realization becomes excessive, then the first casualty in this struggle is truth.
Teach, Minister.
You see, when I'm ripping you off, As long as you don't know it, fine. But the moment you start waking up to the fact that my hand is in your pocket, then I've got to justify why my hand is in your pocket. So the justification and the rationalization is a falsification of the truth. So then I have to engage in deceit. So the rich have to deceive the poor to make you think that you're poor because something is wrong with you. And they're rich because something is right with them. They want you to believe that just a few people are capable of going to college. And the masses should just learn a trade. Well, we should have trades. But every human being that is made in the image and likeness of God is capable of not only graduating from college, but becoming a master of any discipline that is in the field of knowledge. God is the most excellent creator. And if man is created in the image and likeness of God, and there is no mediocre creation of God, from the tiniest flea to the far planets, everything that he created is excellent in its make.
That's right, that's right.
Think about a worm, how excellent it is. Think about a fish and a bird, how excellent it is. Go into a botanical garden and look at flowers and greenery and see how excellent the Creator is. Look in your telescope and view the planets and the stars and the constellations and see how excellent it is. You're floating on a planet that is not upheld by any pillars, just floating in space, smoother than the ride of a 747. How excellent is God's creation. And you, human beings, are the best of his creation. The Quran says he created you in the best of modes. Nothing greater than this magnificent human body. 60,000 miles of veins and arteries. Starting from one cell, you have multiplied to become billions and trillions of cells, yet one body. You are the microcosm of the universe. And the mastery of self is the beginning of the mastery of the forces that control and govern the outer world of the universe. How excellent is the Creator, and how excellent is his creation. And if man has been created that the whole universe must serve us.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Because we are the best of what he created.
That's right.
The sun serves us.
That's right.
The moon and the stars serve us. The insects, the ants, the mountains serve us. A beneficent God set it all out there to serve you and me.
That's right.
And he gives us the wherewithal to become the master of what he created. How dare anyone say that the least among us is not innately qualified, to become a master, not only of the silliness that you call education. Let me say that again, please. Not only are we capable of mastering the silliness that you call education, you are capable of mastering the very laws that govern your creation and the creation of the universe. Now, why, Farrakhan, did you call education silliness? I struggled for years to get a Bachelor of Science or a master degree or a PhD degree, and I'm still struggling, and you call it silliness? What is something that is silly? That which is silly is that which is imbalanced. That which is silly is that which drives you to savagery. Go ahead, man. That which is silly is deprived of the excellence of justice. So when you are deprived of justice in the education, then what you are engaging in is that which does not properly cultivate your excellent qualities. Come on, man, let's go. So you can be a PhD degree person and don't quite understand what your sex is. You can be a doctor of divinity, but have no character development. You can be the best that the world has to offer in terms of education, but you cannot solve the critical problems of our time. So when you go out into the world with what you call education, you find yourself not qualified to deal with the problems of the world. So somebody has fraudulently perpetrated a game on you in the name of education. Let's see. Oh, go ahead, Minister. Now, Farrakhan, listen. I paid a lot for my education, Farrakhan. And it's gotten me around pretty good. Yes, so many people pay a lot of money for a used car that barely gets off the used car lot. What would you think if I sold you an automobile that looked good, but I knew it was defective? And when you got down the street a ways, it broke down. And I said, tough luck. You bought it as is. What you see is what you get. And if you couldn't see, that ain't my fault. Go ahead, see. You come out of college with a degree in psychology. that you can't deal with the minds of your own children. If what you know is valid, you validate your knowledge by your ability to accomplish with it what it implies that you have gotten your credit for. Psychology. Try it. You have, haven't you? And you've discarded it, much of it, because it doesn't work. Isn't that something? Your children are running you. You can train fleas. You make big elephants stand up. Got lions acting like pussycats. And can't get your children to come home at a proper time. Something is wrong, don't you think? You got a master's in psychology. Ain't that something? Who was your teacher? Freud. Jung. They were great. But their knowledge, of course, was far from absolute. But he who created brain, he who created the cells of the brain, knows how to teach you how to guide the development of mind. But if you are so knowledgeable that God has no place in your school, you can't pray to him in school, you can't recognize the Lord of creation who is the master of it all, you can't recognize the real headmaster. And without recognition of God, you reach a plateau of learning where you cannot go beyond where you are. And so your education then becomes a chain. Rather than it freeing you, it becomes a means of enslaving you. So you can quote what somebody wrote, but you can't think beyond the problems at hand. Well, thank God I didn't study psychology. I'm an economist. Sure you are. Sure you are. God, the Creator, says in the Quran, not a leaf falls from a tree, but that he knows it. The master economist has no waste. When the leaf falls, it turns into something else that does something else good for the earth. Every living thing that dies returns into the circle. They say matter can never be created or destroyed. It just keeps on changing its form. Because a master economist does not waste anything. You ought to study from the master, don't you think?
Go ahead, Minister.
You mean God is not your professor of economics?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you don't know what you're doing. You got garbage Can you imagine this? Floating all over the world, somebody saying, take it out of here. Whole barges full of garbage that big, intelligent America doesn't know what to do with garbage. Isn't this hilarious? But you're an economist. You're a real scientist. You've polluted the atmosphere. You poison the water and the earth beneath your feet. You poison the air that we breathe, but you are really a scientist, aren't you? Well, I'm not an economist. I'm a sociologist. That's very nice. If you tell me you're a plumber, and I tell you I got a leak, you ought to be able to find it and fix it. If you tell me you're an electrician and my lights go out, you ought to be able to give me some electricity. That's how I would know that you are what you say you are. It's validated by your work.
By your work.
You're a sociologist? Society has some serious problems. Fix it. And guess what? Guess what? You don't even know where to start. You're so pitiful.
Go ahead, Master Chief.
You got money, rich America, and your money has made a fool out of you. You're not even able to recognize solutions. You think that money is the solution. Because somebody wrote in the Bible, money answereth all things. Sorry you misunderstood and got the wrong answer. Since Lyndon Baines Johnson, America has spent over $1 trillion supposedly to advance the poor, the disadvantaged, the underprivileged in a whole myriad of programs from the federal government. And we are worse off today. But $1 trillion less in the treasury. We are more violent, more insane, more sick and degenerate than any nation on earth. But you're rich, you're corrupt, you're immoral, you're degenerate, and like ancient Egypt, Rome, Babylon, and Sodom and Gomorrah, you are headed down into the abyss of hell. And the reason you're headed down so fast is because at the root of your immorality is a whole people who were brought to America not on the Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria, not on the Mayflower, but brought in the holds of ships. Not brought to America to be made citizens or equal sharers in the promise of America, but brought to America to be made the burden bearers of the real citizens. In order to make this people perpetual slaves without any desire to free themselves from the oppressive grip of the slave master and his children. The black man and woman had to be dealt a serious blow to the head. when a spider is not in its natural state, the spider cannot spin a symmetrical web. You can see that the spider is messed up by just examining the web of the spider. When you look at black people in America, in spite of all of our degrees, all of our education, as a people, we are the most non-productive element in American society. We have over $300 billion coming through our hands each year, making us the 10th or 11th strongest nation on earth. I'm talking about black people in terms of our individual and collective wealth. But what are we doing with $300 billion? It comes in and it goes right out. Other people do more with your money than you do with your money. You build no private schools, but every ethnic and racial group in America has their own private schools. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. You have very few, if any. Teach, man. Teach. The Baptist Church, the white Baptist, they build a church, and right next to it, they build a school. Reverend, we build a church, and we let the slave master's children educate our children, and we wonder why our children are not productive. Go ahead, minister. Go ahead. Go ahead, minister. Barbara Walters came to interview me. Bless her heart. And I had the privilege of talking with Miss Walters for 1 hour and a half. And less than 10 minutes of that actual interview was played. It was cut and hacked so much to try to make me look like less than I am. To try to make her look like more than what she is. That interview, Miss Walters talked to me about the sense of betrayal that members of the Jewish community feel when a man like Mr. Annenberg gave $50 million to the United Negro College Fund and $500 million to education. And Michael Schwerner, a young Jewish boy, lost his life in the struggle for civil rights. She said, "Can't you see why we feel betrayed?" And I said, "Can't you see how we feel?" They never showed this part. I said, "Miss Walters, have you ever seen nigger brand canned foods?" I have.
Teach, teach.
She looked quite puzzled. I said, Miss Walters, have you ever read a primer in school called Little Black Sambo? I have. She said, but that was a long time ago. I said, black people built the economy of the South with our slave labor and fed the industrial revolution of the North with our cheap labor. We fought, bled, and died in all your wars, Miss Walters, for a freedom that we yet don't have. Can't you see how we feel? She said, that was a long time ago. I said, but we are suffering today from the effects of what your fathers did a long time ago.
Go ahead, Minister.
She said, well, what about Khalid Muhammad's words? Do you think it's right to lift yourself and your people by demonizing and putting other people down? I said, we cannot lift ourselves properly by putting someone else down, Miss Walters. But that's exactly what your people have done. You lifted yourself as the white race at the expense of the darker people of the earth. You know that's right. She said, but Khalid's words stung, they hurt. I said, yes, they were harsh. They were harsh, Miss Walters. But Miss Walters, have you ever heard the term burrhead niggers? Have you ever heard your people make mockery of our thick lips and our broad nose and the kinkiness of our hair? I said it is improper for any people to make mockery of another people's physical or cultural characteristics. This is not right. We should not do this. I said, but Miss Walters, your people have not only done it in words, but from the highest legislative body in America. Have you heard of Senator Bilbo and Senator Talmadge of Mississippi? From the Congress, they called us niggers and burrheads and coons who didn't deserve the right to vote. She said, but that was a long time ago. Go ahead, Minister. I said, Miss Walters, it is written in your Torah, in the book of Obadiah, as thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you. So, even though Brother Khaled's words are not approved, yet the harshness of his words, the stinging quality of his words should make you know what we have felt for 400 years living under your rule. So you are beginning to reap some of what you have sown. And you don't like it when it comes your way. It's horrible. It's terrible. Let's all get together now, boys and girls. Come on. We must condemn racism and bigotry. That's right. And anti-Semitism and hatred. Reverend, please join us. Sign your name here. Now, how long did it take you to learn about this brotherhood? Georgia, how long did it take you to learn about this brotherhood now that you want to talk about, this multicultural America? How long did it take you to come to grips with that reality? Or are you hypocritically saying these words, but your deeds have not yet caught up to what you speak? How in the world can you claim America is a multicultural society? How can it be with a Eurocentric point of view at the base of religion, at the base of education, at the base of your system of jurisprudence? Everything is from a Eurocentric perspective. Well, a lot of that was cut out, you know. But I do thank her for giving us exposure. And I will not be unkind to her. People say, but you were so cool. Why should I get upset? That's right. That's right. If you know the truth, what are you upset about? Nothing like the truth. Ain't nothing like the truth. Ain't nothing like the truth. Miss Walters went for the jugular vein. But she will tell you, he never ducked or dodged one question in 1 hour and a half of discussion. I don't duck questions. If I know the answer, I give it. If I don't know, I'm very glad to tell you I'm sorry, I don't know. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because when you give $50 million to the United Negro College Fund, on the surface, that looks wonderful. Now wait, I'm not impugning Mr. Annenberg's motives in the least. Please don't think that. But I do happen to look deeper. If I die plantation owners to keep my plantation going into the future so that my children and my children's children will have your children and your children's children's children on the plantation. You may say it was a benevolent act on my part. That's because you don't recognize that he's building the plantation. Do you understand what I'm saying? With all of your education, you have not been able to lead yourself out of the condition that you are in. With all of your knowledge and all of your money and all of your Mercedes-Benz and fine fur coat, you are still looked upon as a nigger, and you must never forget it. Mr. Lavelle is eminently qualified to be mayor of this city.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And by God's grace, maybe one day he will be.
Yes.
As a mayor, he knows it's his responsibility not to just be mayor of black people, but he has to be the mayor of all of the citizens of Columbus, Georgia.
Preach medicine. Oh, talk medicine. That's right.
But your next door neighbor in Birmingham, Mayor Arrington, you would think that a man who ascended to that height would be respected and honored, but the FBI tried to put a sting on the brother. You would think that the mayor, Maynard Jackson, and the former safety commissioner, Reginald Eves, and others would be free from that kind of ill treatment. But the government of the United States,
Listen to him.
worked to undermine their fine leadership.
Listen to him.
Mayor Washington was a black man. He didn't look like Maynard or like Farrakhan. He looked like he's from Africa.
That's right. That's right.
But they put a mole in among them.
Yes, sir.
Tried to corrupt and undermine his membership that was supporting him in the city council. Government interfered with him because they couldn't stand to see a black man operating a city of the magnitude of Chicago. You are dumb enough to think that because you're called governor or mayor or police commissioner that you have arrived. Not in America. Not yet.
Preach, man. Preach.
So the elected officials have been hounded out of office, many of them. And you all know this. Not because they were corrupt men or women, but because they were black men and women that wanted to stand. When Mayor Barry was the mayor of Washington, D.C., I went to the Washington Times a particular morning that he was heavily involved in his troubles. And a black reporter on the editorial board of the Washington Times asked me this question. Do you think Mr. Farrakhan, since you have such a moral record of clean living and whatnot, do you think that a man should still be in public office, who uses drugs, who chases women? I said, who are you referring to? John F. Kennedy? Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not trying to malign the memory of a president. But that black reporter's lip literally hit the table and bounced back up. It is as though our sins are worse than white folks' sins. It is as though you expect us to be more perfect than you yourselves demand of yourselves. You want your reporters who are black, that work for your TV stations and for your news magazines or newspapers, to be non-biased. How in the hell can you be black and be non-biased when your people are suffering? Be fair in your reporting. But you as a black reporter have a perspective that is different from the perspective of a white reporter, because you see from your experience what they don't see. So to deny your perception that you gotta be as white as the white reporter, you gotta say what a white reporter would say. We went to the auditorium tonight, and we saw Minister Farrakhan, and it did not appear to us that there was any hatred, but he did make reference to Mr. Annenberg, and he said some terrible things. If you hire me to work for you, I can't be a slave. I can't be an Uncle Tom clowning, buffooning, jumping up and down nigger to make you happy. I have to be a man. I want to be a true man. I want to stand up for truth and righteousness. I don't want your job if I have to be that kind of man or woman that you want to make me into. Take your job. So to hold on to these little two-bit jobs. You sell out your brother, sell out your mother, sell out your people and their aspirations. When they lift you up and vote you in, you all of a sudden lose your mouth.
White America is suffering because there's no man who will tell the truth.
Go ahead.
So you've attacked our politicians. Now look what you're doing to your president.
Go ahead.
You're not just attacking Bill Clinton. You're undermining the presidency itself. What good is the country if you cannot uphold the office? How many of you newscasters don't have something in your closet 16 years ago that you would not like to have brought out? Well, we don't want a liar in the White House. That's all you've had ever since you had a White House, is liars in the White House. They lie and they continue to lie to the American people, who have to bear the burden of lying government. So, media, if you want perfection, why not ask Jesus to come back and put him in office? You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. We are all, according to the scriptures, sinners. That's right. We have all fallen short of the glory of God. It said the most righteous among us, our righteousness with God is as filthy rags. So if you vote for me to be your leader, you already know that I came out of a barrel of swill. How in the hell could I be pure unless God purifies me? So you're going so crazy today, you're just undermining and destroying your house. You don't know when to leave something alone. You don't know anymore what is priority, what is of value, and what is of non-value, what is real and good and wholesome for the American people. You've become swine. Oh, I know, dear listeners, and that's harsh. But when you pick up your newspaper, if the first thing you want to read is the filth, the evil that is happening in the society, that's what you feed on. You feed on controversy. You feed on conflict. You feed on death and destruction. You feed on scandal. Why? Because the media has become a giant pig. No. Wait a minute. Now, in a 30-second bite on television, that's going to sound very ugly. But I want the media to know I don't disrespect you. I have the utmost respect for the media. Without the media, no, seriously, without you, in a democratic society,
we would be in worse shape than we are. But you must look at what you're feeding the American people. And you must understand that not only a man is what he eats, but people are what they think. Jesus said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you're only feeding the media, feeding the American people the worst of themselves, you don't even balance it with the best of themselves. You won't even in the news say, well, here's some good news tonight. I remember when I was a young boy, there was a man on radio, his name was Gabriel Heder. And he would come on saying, there's good news tonight. People want to hear something good. We know that the world is evil, but can't you find something good? Isn't there something good in the American people? Isn't there something good to focus on? Because the more you feed evil, you promote evil. The more you feed good, you promote good. So now, America is eating at the slop trough. Pete, what's the latest news? Have you heard? Child, I saw it on the front page. The top of the news tonight. But look at the fruit of it. You have a public that is losing confidence in the institutions that make America what it is. You have a public that is losing confidence in the Congress. A public losing confidence in democracy. In the last presidential election, less than half of those qualified to vote bothered to vote. If the greatest gift in a democracy is the right to vote, and less than half of those qualified to vote took part in a presidential election, can't you see? Can't you see that the American people are losing confidence? And as they lose confidence in leadership, they're now losing confidence in the institutions that undergird and teach morality to the American people. The church has lost its credibility among the people. There was a time when you said, I'm Father so-and-so, I'm Reverend so-and-so. That meant something. But today, the young will come into church and rob the preacher and his congregation because they see the preacher as a pimp hustling the people rather than bringing them real salvation. They see the politicians the same. They see education as not working because the people who are educated can't solve the problems, the complex problems of the society. Yes, sir. So the people are losing confidence. This is not just black people. Right. White people are losing confidence in government. Yes, sir. Ross Perot tapped into this big vein of dissatisfaction. And even though he backed out and then at the last minute came back,
He garnered 19% of the vote, which was historic.
Yes, sir.
So whoever wanted to be president had to come and kiss the ring of Ross Perot, who had tapped into this large body of dissatisfied Americans. Dissatisfaction must bring about a change. Clinton became president because in him the dissatisfied saw perhaps change. A young man. And now whatever he's done that you don't like, you're beating him up now. Tearing him to pieces. And after you shred him, who else you gonna put in? Mr. Dole is getting ready. Mr. Kemp is getting ready. Some others are getting ready to inherit what? What you've destroyed. The country is in bad shape. Hollywood is further corrupting the people. When I was a youngster and went to the movies, my mother could give me a dime or a quarter. You know, that was a long time ago. And I could go to the movies on Saturday with a quarter, see a movie, get some popcorn, and still have a little left over. It's true. It's true. That was a long time ago. I know I don't look it. I know. You see, the beauty of trying to live right, trying to live clean, and trying to have wholesome thoughts is that it defeats the process of aging.
Talk, Minister.
I won't get into that now. But I am deeply concerned at the destruction of the church as a moral force in the society. There have always been corrupt priests, corrupt ministers, corrupt rabbis, corrupt sheikhs, mullahs, imams. But when you take the corrupt one out and focus on the corrupt one, you begin to make the people believe that the whole thing is as this one. Then Hollywood has gradually degenerated film in the name of reality. A person's bedroom should be private. I mean, if you're a decent human being, you don't say to your wife, not your brother's wife, your wife, "Come, darling, let's go into the bedroom and open the doors and let the whole world see what we do, how we do." Sex is private.
That's right.
It is the act that God ordained, not between consenting adults, but between mature, sober-minded individuals whose love for one another has reached the point where they are willing to make a lifelong commitment to each other, and their coming together repeats the words of God found in the Genesis, "Come, baby, let us make man." Right? That's private. There's a song I used to sing, ain't nobody's business if I do or what I do. But since J. Edgar Hoover liked to peep, they must have named the Hoover vacuum cleaner after him, because the Hoover vacuum cleaner seems to suck up all the dirt. J. Edgar Hoover was busy trying to find all the dirt he could find on anybody, and naturally the place that he looked was where? The bedroom. Now, I don't know what movie to go to. You take your children to a movie, your wife to a movie, unless you've been thoroughly desensitized, you're embarrassed. Now I'm brought into somebody's madness. My little girl children, my little boy children hear the foulest language. If I don't use it in the home, it makes no difference. I take them to the movie, or I just turn on my television now. When I was in show business and was a calypso singer and dancer, where you move your hips and other things and whatnot, I remember when I was on television, on the Ernie Kovac show, you've heard of him. And when they put the camera on me, I had one of these kind of, Cuban shirts, and it's kind of open in the front and big puff sleeves. And I was, I was doing what I was doing. But they kept that camera from here up. And they told me afterwards, say, we cannot show that on the screen.
Listen up.
There was a level of decency. Today, please. Can you imagine a woman on television with a string on TV? Your underwear, sisters, that's your business. I mean, that's why they call it underclothes. Because what you got over, what is under, ain't nobody's business but your own. Now they're saying, well, hey, on TV, look at my underwear. I wear, you ain't even got nothing on till I get my hands on you. So you see women parading with no clothes on. What does this do? It begins to take away the natural shyness, the natural shame of a woman to be exposed. So you don't care anymore. You're a shyless, shameless creature. You go into public half nude. You don't care. You want men to see your bosom. You want men to see your backside. You want men to drool at your body. So what did you marry? You married somebody that lusted over your bosom, lusted over your backside, and when he discovered every square inch of it, then he went looking for somebody else's. Don't you want a man to love you for you? He never gets acquainted with the vast infinity of your mind. He's dumb enough to believe that sex is the be-all and end-all of relationships.
You preaching on it.
But tell him, sister. Tell him. The sex act only lasts 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Some of you may feel you stallions. But hell, after an hour, two, there's 22 more hours. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with her head? What are you going to do with her heart?
Preach, Master, preach.
The country is gone to hell. America is worse than Sodom and Gomorrah.
Listen.
If Lot came back and saw Columbus, he wouldn't even have to go to Atlanta. And don't even think about San Francisco. If Lot just came to Columbus, he'd say, God, take me. I thought Sodom and Gomorrah was bad, but Columbus. You've so undermined morals that the people take their low desires now for a God beside God. I do what I want to do.
That's what they say.
Don't nobody tell me. So your country is in decline. I was only trying to point out that $50 million to sustain an educational plantation is to ensure that his children will be on top 50 or 100 more years in the future. So while it looks like a philanthropic act and may very well be, but to maintain a system that is not educating is only perpetuating the madness that is before the American people. And so, Columbus, the question then becomes, what shall we do? Can we get out of this? Certainly we can. Certainly we can. By what means shall we get out of the condition that we're in? Can America be saved? Yes. But the hour is late, America. And if you don't do what truth demands, then you're finished. You will go the same way that Rome went, Babylon went, Sodom and Gomorrah went. God's hand of judgment right now is on America. This is why nature seems to have gone wild. It's the hand of God telling you, I'm displeased. And the book says, nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be wars and rumors of wars. There will be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, but these are just the beginning of sorrows. And then it talks about our personal relationships, how we would betray one another, deliver one another up. All of this is going on right now. The end of this kind of world is come. And Clinton can't lead you out of it. God don't send politicians to deliver people. He anoints his servants, the prophets, the apostles, the messengers, to warn the people. Whether you hear or forbear, that is on you. America, you're wrong in the way you have treated 30 to 40 million black people. America, You are wrong. You're wrong for the way you treat the poor in this society. America, you are wrong. You're wrong to spend billions of dollars to give homes to Jews who are refugees from Russia, while your own citizens are living under bridges and in cardboard boxes, and the homeless continue to grow. You're wrong, America. You're wrong, America, to lie to the people. And the Tonkin Gulf resolution was based on a lie that caused 500,000 Americans to go to war in Vietnam on the base of a lie. Thousands lost their lives. Hundreds and thousands more were wounded. And many thousands more came back from Vietnam incapacitated, and they're not straight today on the base of a lie. You're wrong, America. You're wrong to treat your veterans of foreign wars who have built the country like second-class citizens. You're wrong, America. You're wrong to produce a society like this. You systematically pull the female out of the house. You disturb the economic balance by creating an enemy in Russia. It was Americans who financed the Bolshevik Revolution that brought the communists into power. Listen, America. You set up the two camps, and then an arms race took place. And America had to borrow money to build bigger rockets. Russia had to borrow money to build bigger rockets. And now, after 40 years of a Cold War, the taxpayers' money in atomic weapons that you now have to destroy and dismantle. And what have the poor gotten out of this? Nothing. Who will speak for the poor in America? Kennedy is a man from the rich. Clinton was not exactly rich, but he certainly didn't know poverty like we know it. Right. Who will speak for the poor? They don't have any voice in this society. Congress doesn't represent the poor. Congress represents the special interests, the lobbyists, the people that can help them get reelected while the masses suffer. You fight, you bleed, you die for a country, and you get sick, and you go to a hospital and they tell you if you don't have insurance, we can't take you.
That's what they say. That's right. Go ahead, man.
They're borrowing Social Security, borrowing from pension funds to pay America's indebtedness. So some of you that are young today, when you think it's time for you to retire and live off of your retirement, you may find there ain't no money there. America, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
And somebody got to help you get right. You're angry with Farrakhan. What have I done? You call me a hater. You call me an anti-Semite. I've never harmed one Jewish person, one white person. I've never touched a hair of your head.
That's right.
Nobody who follows me has ever done that.
That's right.
So if I'm a hate teacher, why can't you show me some actions that we have taken that have destroyed your synagogues, burned your homes. We have done none of that. What is it that you're afraid of? Did you think that they thought this number of people would be out in Columbus, Georgia? Suppose it were a free event. You wouldn't have been able to get near here. But each one of you paid $10. Some paid $15. And they didn't pay that to hear a singer of songs or to be entertained. They came because something in them is touched by something in me. Some came out of curiosity because they want to know, why are white people frightened of Farrakhan? What is it about me that you're afraid of? I've never been a violent person. I will soon be 61 years of age. I have never been arrested in my life. Go back and search my record from grammar school all the way up. I was always a good student. Never was in any trouble. Do you think I got to be 61 years of age now and I'm going to be a troublemaker? However, God gifted me with a heart of deep love for my people and deep love for the suffering of human beings. It's not hate that drives me. It's love that drives me. It's not hate of white people that makes me come and risk my life. It's love of God, love of truth, and love of you that makes me do so. But just as the wicked hated Jesus without a cause, listen. He was not an evil man, but they tried to make him look evil to justify what those in authority wanted to do because the people were going after Jesus. What are you afraid of? You're afraid because a black man that you don't control, a black man that you don't control, is calling black people, Hispanic people, and white people, and they are responding. Some of you don't mind black people responding to me. But what you're frightened to death of is that poor white people will hear what I have to say. Because it is they, the poor white, that the country has been taken from.
That's right.
The blacks ain't never had it.
Never had it.
So look at you. Now our great movie stars can play the role as in the Philadelphia story of a lawyer who disliked homosexuality. And while it's supposed to be a movie to give understanding to the plight of those who suffer from AIDS, very subtly, it is a movie that breaks down the wall of resistance to homosexuality. And if any of us speak from the books of God against the things that God disapproves of, why should we be made to feel that we are incorrect? If I'm a liar, God does not approve of that. I got to clean that up. If I'm a thief or an adulterer, God does not approve of that. I've got to clean that up. If I'm effeminate, God does not approve of that. I got to clean it up.
Go on, Minister.
So if God does not like homosexuality, and he clearly says it, that it is an abomination to him, then while you and I may engage in that, God is saying, I can accept you like that. And just as I destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for that, and then said, as it was in the days of Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Well then, I will not approve of your conduct. Do you think that you can come to Christ with a dress up by your thighs? That if you sneeze, you be naked? Can you imagine Christ returning and you slithering up to him with your bosom half out? Hey, baby, how you doing, Jesus? Oh, you back? You think he's going to accept that? Hard women trying to be men. Hey, Jesus. Glad to see you. Or big men trying to be soft. Hi, Jesus. Glad to see you. Which one of us as preachers would God accept trying to run through the congregation, hustling people and not elevating people, not feeding the flock and nurturing the Spirit of God in the people that would enable the people to rise against their own evil and the evil that is in society? Which one of us do you think Jesus Christ would accept? None. Which one of you would he accept? You talking about I'm better because I'm white. What you gonna do if Jesus come back and he got hair like lamb's wool and feet like brass burned in an oven? What you gonna do? You can't accept no black Jesus, huh? So what you gonna say? Call 911, there's a nigger at the door. Georgia! Georgia! Can you accept a black Jesus Christ, Georgia? Boy, you'd be in a world of trouble if he came back black, wouldn't you? Tell the truth. Ask the Pope why he got a black Madonna and a black baby Jesus in his secret chamber. Go ahead. Ask the white Masons and Shriners. Who is Hiram? Who is the real worshipful master, and why does he sit in the east and not in the west? All right. Yeah, go ahead, Minister. This is why in all your integration, you don't integrate the church and you don't integrate the shrine. How come? Don't you want integration? I'm so bigoted. I'm so hateful. Why don't you open up the shrine and let the black shrine and the white shrine go to the shrine together?
That's right. That's right.
Why don't you have one grand lodge with all the black Masons and the white Masons meeting together? See, then you couldn't carry on like you do. Because you know that this black man is the base of your whole secret order. I think I better tell it all while I'm here. The whole Masonic order is built on 33 degrees of knowledge. Degrees of a circle. There's 360 degrees in a circle. Where are the other 327 degrees?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Put it to him. Teach, minister. Teach. Teach, minister.
You don't have them in the West. Where are they?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have them in the West. Where are they?
Yeah.
So all of you in Masonry, you look into the east, where light comes from. What light are you looking for to come out of the east?
Go ahead.
Habakkuk the prophet said, God came from T-Man, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Come on. He's coming out of the east, even as lightning shines from the east, even unto the west. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the eagles are gathered together, there shall the carcass be. The base of your ritual is the black man. The black man, an ancient man, who is a master architect. Our fathers are the builders of the universe. Not just builders of pyramids, builders of universe. But what happened to us? Somebody hit us in the head and carried us on a westerly course and buried us in the north corner in a shallow grave. Some wicked ruffians a few of them recanted, but there were 3 of them that carried it out. Jubilo, jubilo, jubilo. Who is jubilo, jubilo, and jubilo? It ain't Tweedledee and Tweedledum. It's you. Jesus put it another way. A man went down from from Jerusalem to Jericho. And on the way, he fell among thieves who hit him in his head and robbed him of his raiment and left him wounded in the road. A priest came by and he passed by on the other side. A Levite came and looked at him, but he didn't do nothing to help him. But along came the Good Samaritan, coming in that same direction from Jerusalem to Jericho. Those two cities are in the news today. Jerusalem and Jericho. I've been to both cities. And the Good Samaritan saw the man in the road, and he poured oil in his wound and bandaged his wound. Brought him to an innkeeper and gave the innkeeper 2 pence and said, if it is more than what I've given you on my return, I will, in other words, take care of the bill. Another parable Jesus made to describe this same Masonic secret. A father had some sons. And one of his sons told his father, give me my inheritance. And he took his inheritance and went into a strange country and tried to join himself on to be a citizen in that strange country. But he fell down in that strange land, husking corn and feeding swine. But one day a famine arose, and his condition became so terrible, it said he came to himself. Meaning he was other than himself, but then because of a famine, he came to himself. And then he said, I think. He began thinking again. I think. See, something was wrong with his head. I think I will arise and go to my father. And he started walking toward the father, and the father saw him a long way off and went out to meet him. And when the son saw the father, he fell down and he said, Father, I have sinned, and I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father knew that boy, and he picked him up, and he said, go kill the fatted calf. But the brothers got angry and said, why? He's out there in that strange land cavorting with strange women. We've been here with you all along. Why are you going to do this for him? He said, go get the ring. Put it on his finger. Go get the robe and put it on his back. He said, you that stayed at home, you did well, but rejoice, because this that was lost is now found. This that was blind can now see. This that was dead is alive now forevermore. Now, what does it all mean? See, Jerusalem was a city first built by the black man. It used to be called Jebus, also Salem and Ariel. But when it was founded by the Jews, they called it Jerusalem, which means founded in peace. Jericho was a city of confusion. And when you leave something founded in peace and go into a city of confusion, you went down. It didn't mean he went down physically, but he went down spiritually from a state of peace and contentment of mind, from a state of obedience to the law and will of God, to a confused state of existence. And on the way, he met some thieves who hit him in his head like they do today. But only they didn't take his Nike shoes and his Bulls jacket. They took his fine raiment and they left him wounded, half dead in the room. The black man went down from a state of peace in Africa to a land of confusion in America. And in between Africa and America, we fell among some thieves. European thieves, African thieves, Arab thieves, Jewish thieves, who saw in us merchandise. So they stripped us of our holy robes. And they hit us in our head, taking away the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of our ancient past, our culture, our language, our history. By the rivers of Babylon we wept when we remembered Zion. We hung our harps on the willow tree, and our joyful song had turned to mourning. And they that wasted us required of us mirth, and they that carried us away captive required of us a song, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. And the answer came back, how can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? We were brought to America, a strange land, among strange people whose ways were strange to the ways of our ancient fathers. And they hit us in the head. And we couldn't remember anymore our Father's house. We couldn't remember anymore our own names, our own language, our own God. We were as a victim of amnesia. Like in the book of Daniel, they brought the Hebrew boys out of their own land into a land of captivity. And they changed their names to Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Belteshazzar. Like they changed your names to Johnson and Jones and Smith and Culpeper and O'Reilly and Overbrook and Jackson and Johnson and Washington and Lincoln. These are not your names. These are the names of your former slave masters and tormentors. You got hit in the head. And you laid there in the road wounded. Hiram, Hiram, oh Master Hiram. A master architect, but like that spider, that something went wrong. He couldn't build his web anymore. The black man in America, descendants of great builders. Black man laid out Washington, D.C. in a state of amnesia. Black man with his scientific mind developed street lights for America. Black man invented the cotton gin because we were the one breaking our back picking cotton for you, but you got the credit. Go ahead. But even though we were wounded, We contributed mightily to this society. Out of our pain and our suffering, the spirituals were born. Deep River. My home is over Jordan. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming to carry me home. See, we knew this wasn't home. It was a band of angels coming after me. They were coming to carry me home. Oh, don't you want to go to that promised land where all is peace, because now you're in a state of confusion. So if you can't walk away, if you can't run away, come on, folks, let's steal away. Let's just steal away to Zion. Because my God, he calls me. He calls me by the thunder. I hear him call deep. Within my soul, I know I ain't got long to stay here. He's hit in the head. He's wounded. He's a master architect. But he forgot the plan by which the temple of Solomon was built. He's in a shallow grave. He's waiting for the master grip. Because nobody could lift him. Many tried, but they couldn't get him up. There were 3 that came, you see. Y'all all right? There were 3 that came, and when they grabbed him, the flesh was withered, and it slipped, and it couldn't get a grip. Another one tried. He couldn't get a grip, but the master came. Only the master could get him up. And the master came with a master grip and put it on Hiram and pulled him up out of his shallow grave. The priest came by on the other side. Ever since we've been in America, we've had churches. But for 300 years, white folk, you had church. We weren't even allowed to have church. And when in 1760 or 1780 you found it not incompatible for us to be slaves and Christians at the same time, you made us Christians. If you were Baptist, we became Baptist. If you were Methodist, we became Methodist. If you were Episcopalian, we became Episcopalian. Whatever you were, we became. But you wouldn't let us worship with you. We had to go out in the field. The Bible was a locked book. We couldn't read it, brothers. Anybody that would teach us how to read would be beaten down. Knowledge does not belong to white people. Knowledge is a human right. And when you deprive a human being of knowledge, you deprive that human being of that which separates man from the beast of the field. Hit him in the head. And the priest walked by on the other side. It is not that Khaled is a hater. He's just angry. He's angry because the church walked by on the other side. Don't tell me that you got compassion on this pitiful black man and you don't do nothing to heal his condition. You walk by on the other side. When they were hanging us on trees right here in Georgia, you walked by on the other side. When they were castrating us here in Georgia, you walk by on the other side. When a man couldn't be a man, if he had a pretty daughter, the sheriff would come and ask him, send your daughter out to me. And you better do it or he'll kill you.
That's right.
And the church walked by on the other side. And even now, he's a Baptist, all right, but he ain't First Baptist. You First Baptist. And because he couldn't find comfort worshiping with you, he formed his own Baptist church. He was a Methodist, but he couldn't find comfort because your Christianity didn't go deep enough to allow you to accept your former slave as a spiritual equal in the house of God. So he became African Methodist Episcopalian. Am I lying?
No, sir, you own it, minister.
Is this what you call hate? Is this what you call bigotry? Because I remind my people of what they have suffered and what they continue to suffer, you call that hate? Well, what is Schindler's List? Is it not a reminder of the evil of yesterday's Germans? Today's Germans are not guilty. But you want today's Jews and today's Germans to be reminded of a painful chapter in history so that it might never again be repeated. But when we try to remind our people of a painful history, you call it hate teaching. You call it reverse racism. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And the priests walk by on the other side.
Go ahead, minister.
The Levite. Who is the Levite? The Levite is from the Aaronic priesthood. They are members of the Jewish people. You've always been sympathetic with us. You've come to see about us. You looked down on us, saw our condition, but you never poured oil in our wounds.
Oh, you got it, man.
No, you didn't. Because if you as a Jew taught us what Moses taught you, we would be as free today as you are.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We would be as accomplished today as you are.
That's right.
But you showed sympathy.
That's all.
But you didn't pour oil in our wound. But a good Samaritan.
One came, Samaritan. He came.
Coming out of the east, even unto the west.
He came. Been here.
He was a master, not a spirit, but a son of man. A man coming from a man, but he's a man in whom God has placed healing, power, and wisdom. How do you know that he came?
Come on, minister.
How do you know, Columbus, that he came? How do you know when the lights have gone out that the electrician has arrived?
The lights come on.
When the lights come on again.
All over the world.
all over the world.
Go ahead, Minister.
Then you know the electrician, a world electrician, has turned the lights on again.
How do you know that he came? When the wounded man,
listen,
has oil poured in his wound, and he stands up and begins
In his infancy again, to build again, to vision again, to start to build the kingdom, not Solomon's temple, but the kingdom of God.
yes, sir. No.
Jesus said, the kingdom is within you. But if you're asleep, you can't build it. You must be awakened, and it's going to take a master to awaken you. How do you know that the master has come? I'm finished now. Don't go, though. You're going to miss it. Jesus told his disciples, go. You'll see an ass and a mule tied with her. Untie it. Bring them to me. If anybody asks you, what are you doing? Just tell them. The master has need of them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hear you, Minister.
Jesus ain't a thief. He just knew that the ass was tied.
Yeah.
Somebody owned it but wasn't using it. But Jesus had need of it. And so he said to the disciples, don't worry, just do what I tell you. Untie him and bring him. And if anybody's saying anything, because they're sure going to say something, tell them the master has come. And he has need of them. How does the master have a need? Because the world would not know that the master electrician had come unless there was a job for a master electrician. And it's the work that validates the man.
That's right. That's right.
See, Hiram is in his grave. The prodigal son is in a strange land. The man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. He's wounded. He's laying there. He's in need of somebody. Whoever does the work is validated. Whoever lifts him is validated.
Stop, Minister.
How do you know a master has come?
Stop.
I am your brother.
Yes, sir.
But I am not asleep. I am your brother. But I am not dead. I am your brother. But I was raised from the dead. And now I got power to go and disturb your grave. And I got oil to pour in your wound. I got money to put you on a beast and take you to an innkeeper to keep you till you get on your feet again. How do you know that the master has come? Because one of your brothers has been raised.
That's right. That's right.
Can't you see? Look at me. The Lord is my shepherd. Can't you see? I shall not want. No matter what they do, they can't stop what I'm doing. Why? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Not you, he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. When a sheep can lie down in green pastures, he's secure because he knows a meal is there for him. He maketh me to lie down. I never worry about a bill being paid. I never worry about bread on my table. Even though they want to cut me off, he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Still waters run deep. And your brother is deep. He's deep. He's deep. He's calm. He's at peace, though he's hated by the government, hated by the Jews, hated by some of his own people who hate him without a cause. Yet he's at peace. Yes, sir. He's 60, but he looks 30. He's an old young man. Go ahead. Can't you tell that I've met the one you talk about? Yes, sir. Who said, I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. What 60-year-old man look as good as this brother? He restored my soul. The very essence of me was broken and wounded, but he restored my essence. What is your essence? The Quran says every human being is by nature born to submit to the will of God. That's right. That's right. He restored my soul. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yes, sir. I used to smoke reefers and other things. I used to drink. I used to cut up and cut the food. All of that is behind me now. I never liked lying, and I don't lie. That's right. I love truth. I'm just telling you the truth. He restored my soul. Yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I don't fear any evil. And you know, brothers and sisters in Georgia, a man gets killed for thinking like I talk. What do you think about a man who talks like I think? But I'm not afraid. Why? Because he's with me. He prepared a table for me in the midst of my enemies. He anointed my head with oil till my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Who is this that you met, Farrakhan? Who applied the master grip to pull you up and then gave you power to pull us up? Who did it? Farrakhan, tell us who did it. A little man from Georgia. Born right down the road a piece in Sandersville, Georgia. Looked like any common, ordinary child, but he was a child of destiny. Tell us about it. And the great master came from the east and touched him and raised him. And he raised me. That's right. And thee. That's right. And now you look at us.
all those that are with me. Look at these young men. Look how clean they look. You don't see nobody that looks like those who are under the teaching and guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Some of these were thugs and criminals and dope heads and hustlers and pimps and gun toters. They don't need guns anymore. They're not on welfare. They work. They have vision. We're building in America. So it is right that the NAACP and the nation walk together. That's right. For the advancement not only of people of color, but of all human beings who are interested in advancing. And the only thing that stands between us and advancement is truth. I am so grateful for this privilege of being in your midst. I'm so grateful to Brother Michael, who has been here a long time in this city, struggling against the odds to try and make you understand what he believes. And maybe after 15 years, Brother Michael, you brought your brother here. And perhaps now they will understand us just a little bit more. So when you see the brothers in the street with the final call, don't think they're paper boys. They are men with a message. They are young ministers who recognize the power that is in the word that brought them up, and they want you to get the word to bring you up. We're not trying to take you away from the church. No. We just want the truth to be in the church, in the minister, so you can put it in the people. You heard this exegesis of Scripture. Didn't it touch your soul? I mean, didn't it get all down in the marrow of your bones? It's because you and the truth are one. And when you hear it, even though it may be unsettling, even though it may be disconcerting, even though it may be frightening, you know it. You know it. I thank those radio stations who brought this message live to the people of Augusta, black and white and Hispanic and other. And I hope and I pray that whatever I was blessed to say this evening, as you saw, there were no notes in front of me. Because I don't really use notes. I speak from what God lays on my heart. I want you, as you leave this auditorium, to make up in your mind that you will never shed the blood of your brother or sister ever, 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 ever again. I want you to know Augusta and Columbus and Savannah and Atlanta, Georgia is a great state. And you are a great people in the state. You are the people of God. Do not harm your brother, for to harm your brother is to actually pierce God himself. How can you love God whom you have never seen and hate your brother whom you see every day? Thank you for listening, and may God bless you all as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
All
praises are due to Allah, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Brothers and sisters, let us have prayer together and be dismissed. How many of you believe that what you heard taught today, that it is the truth? May I see your hands? Thank you. Thank you so very much. Brothers and sisters, would you repeat this after me? I say your name. Pledge to strive to love my brothers and sisters as I love myself. Will you try to do that? Second, I, your name. Well, you know the last one ain't yours, but until you can do better, hang on. I, your name, pledge to strive to study, to improve myself spiritually, mentally, morally, physically, and economically, for the benefit of myself, my family, and my people. I, your name, pledge to strive to build schools, hospitals, housing, businesses, to buy farmland, and enter into international trade and commerce for the good of myself, my family, and my people. I, your name, pledge to give of myself, my time, my energy, and whatever I can spare of my finance to accomplish what I just said. Brothers and sisters, if you will try to make your word bond, and when you leave this place today, know that we are family. Muslims, Christians, that's right, family. We are family. No matter what your denomination, that's right, or sect, we are family. And we must act that way. That's right. I thank all of you. Some of the older Muslims that I've seen and known for so many years. It is so good to see you all again, my dear brother. It is good to see you, sisters. Let us have prayer. If you will bow your heads, I will say this prayer partly in Arabic and in English. قل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم الصراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Master of the day of judgment, Thee alone do we worship, Thine aid we seek. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed favors, not the path of those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray. I bear witness that there is no God but thee, and I bear witness to Moses and the Torah, to Jesus and the gospel, to Muhammad and the Quran, and I bear witness to the hereafter and to the angels and to the life that you have promised us after this life. I bear witness that you are God and beside you there is none other, and I bear witness that Muhammad is your messenger. Ameen. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. That means God is great. So before you go, I want you each to just look at yourselves and shake the hand of the person next to you or around you. Greet each other. This is family.
Hey, my name is Mark. I think Minister Farrakhan's coming to Columbus is very beneficial to all the people of Columbus, especially me. Columbus has a real bad problem with racism and blacks not having enough pride in themselves and enough belief in themselves to do the things that they really should be doing as a people. His message was very strong, very informative, and extremely inspirational. And I just appreciate him coming, and I appreciate the opportunity to listen to him and hear his message.
He's very, very knowledgeable. He's great in every sense of the word, and I do believe that he is truly a messenger. And I feel very privileged that he's here, that I'm here to be able to witness this event, and that I've also learned a lot, not only about what we need to do as a people together and unite, but how I can change myself and how I can pass on what I've learned here down to my children and them on to theirs.
But once he came on the stage, he gave the crowd exactly what they were looking for, a 2.5-hour pep rally preaching spirituality and unity.
I thought it was uplifting. I think it came at the right time, particularly for citizens of Columbus, and hopefully that they left here with, they got something out of his message, particularly, if you put God first in your life, that anything is possible. And hopefully that the community will come together as one and work together as one in helping to bring about some needed changes here in this community.
Being that this is my first time witnessing the message offered by Minister Farrakhan, I was very moved. I think that youth that have not seen Minister Farrakhan speak are at a great disadvantage, and it will be a great advantage for all of the black youth to hear Minister Farrakhan speak. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing him speak again.